Peace. Welcome to the show. This right here is Humble Beginnings, where we simply live it through. Y'all know I say it all the time. When I say we simply live it through, that means no matter what adversity or diversity we go through, all we can do is walk the path accordingly. That's pretty much just life in itself, y'all. All we can do is just walk it accordingly wherever it takes us and see what happens. Got some of the gang up. Couple more members gonna be jumping in. But I got a first timer with me, my boy Willie D. What's up with you, man?
What's going on, man? Thanks for having me.
Oh yeah, ain't no problem. Of course, you know Mike Joe, of course, right there. Got the audio up right now. But
going
the
up.
topic of the night, guys, we're gonna talk about trust. This thing called trust. Trust is an amazing thing, man. It's amazing, and it's gonna be pretty interesting to see where people lie when it comes to these concepts. But we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna get right into this thing though. I'm gonna start off with something a little simple for us before we get a rest on time to gear up. Let's talk about it first. First question I got: do you have to trust someone to really call them a friend? Do you have to trust them to really call them a friend?
Well, I'm gonna say yes, you do, because friendship is something deep, you know what I'm saying? And I don't see how you can go anywhere in any relationship without trust. So definitely, in order to be a friend, you got to have trust to be a friend.
What do you think about the saying that people always say, the enemy of my enemy is a friend?
What do they say now? I'm sorry. Can you say it again?
When people say the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
The enemy. See, that's my first time ever hearing that. So I'm
You
kind
ain't
of
never
thinking
heard that
through.
before?
No, I
Oh
never heard
man,
that.
you ain't never heard that before? So,
The enemy of my enemy.
so typically it's usually one of them situations where it's like you got somebody who is like considered an enemy of yours. And then another problem or another person may arise that y'all both have equal hatred, we'll use for lack of better terms, towards that individual. So it's usually a term where people typically, even though you hated that other guy, y'all kind of unify to go against another party.
I don't like that. I don't like that because I mean, are we only gonna? If we wasn't cool before, why are we gonna be cool now just because we don't like the same person?
Sometimes people link up for the objective. That be the objective, to get rid of that third party.
I don't like it. I don't like it.
Well, so you don't like it. Mike, what you think about that, man? Do you have to trust someone to really call them a friend? If you don't.
Yeah, because like my friend list ain't long, so if I consider you a friend, like I got some trust in you, so yeah.
Okay. I am she. What you think about that? Do you have to trust someone? Really trust someone to call them a friend? If she did, I saw she pop up. I don't know if she right. She might not be ready.
The question?
Do you have to really trust someone to be able to call them your friend?
Yes.
Okay. You gonna elaborate, or you just leaving it at yes?
I'm gonna just leave it at that.
Cool. So I'm gonna say not necessarily, and the only reason why I'm gonna say not necessarily because the definition to the word friend is very, 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 very broad, right? And I'm one of them people. I always speak to the concept of nature before the mental capacity of others. I always say this all the time, that we as humans tend to put so much in our mentality that we tend to avoid the outlook of how it is when people act in a natural sense. So the reason why I say you don't have to really truly trust them is because I do. So just like the statement that I asked Will about the enemy of my enemy is my friend. A lot of times it is that I trust your nature to work in its benefit towards the situation, not necessarily me trusting you as an individual. Like I might not trust you in my life or trust you with other things, but I do trust you to live out your nature. And that's typically where that saying comes from when they say the enemy of my enemy is my friend. So it's that I place my trust on the reliance of your hatred for this individual and my hatred for this individual, we can still get this goal accomplished. But it's only predicated upon your nature that I'm trusting, not really more so that I'm trusting you. So that's like a part that kind of makes me say it doesn't necessarily have to be trusted to be a friend.
But that's still trusting somebody, still trusting that person to operate within human nature. They're still trusting. So that's what I.
Well, that's why I said that's why I said not necessarily, because you don't really have to trust them, but trust the nature of humans. You get what I'm saying?
That's what I mean by like I would have to trust someone to call my friend, calling my friend because I trust this person. That they have the ability to turn on me at any time. They have the ability to be loyal. They have the ability to be disloyal. They have the ability to lie. I trust in human nature. So
yeah, but some people trust more than human nature though. A lot of people and their friends, they trust the person though. So I agree with you. That's why I'm saying I think it's two-sided. I think like a lot of your friends, you trust them as person, and then you have people who trust simply the nature of the person, which I think is pretty much they still wrap together. That's why I said in the beginning, not necessary. Well, necessary. Another one. We was kind of having this conversation a little early, and I thought it was really, really a good subject. It was a good subject, so it made me wanted to ask this question: do you have to love someone to trust them?
no,
I definitely say yes.
When I was having this conversation earlier,
no,
do you have to love someone to trust them?
no.
Elaborate a little bit, IMC.
I don't think you do. I don't think you need to love somebody to trust them. I don't think trust and love go hand in hand. Because we could love somebody and not trust them.
Okay.
It's the same thing as like I'm gonna use a woman as example. She love her man, but she don't trust the fact that he faithful to her. Okay. That don't mean she don't love him. Or a man could cheat.
But there got to be some trust there that she think he gonna do.
That don't mean he don't love her. I think people put too much on love. Like love is a feeling. Like everybody can get that. You could get that at first sight. You could get that at 5, 10 months, a year down the line. It's just a feeling. I don't think trust and love go hand in hand at all.
What you were saying, Will?
I was saying they do. I feel like if how she was saying, a female might love her man but don't trust him to do right. I think it is a little bit of trust there because the love is gonna come from her trusting that he's gonna be able to get right. I feel like if somebody felt like it was no hope or felt like the person was never gonna get right, then it wouldn't be no love there. But I think the love comes from the hope of that person doing right. So I think it might not be as much trust. It might not be 100% trust, but there is a little trust that even if it's she might not trust that he'll do right as far as cheating, but she'll probably trust that he'll get better in the future. You feel me?
No, so you used the correct word. You said hope. She hoped that he gets better in the future. That don't mean she trusted. That means she's hoping for the better. Hope and trust is two different things as well.
She trusts in him a little bit. Might not be a lot, might be 1%, but she trusts in him. She trusts in him to do better.
I guess.
So you don't think that hope and trust pretty close?
Mm.
I think it can be close, but I think it can be separate as well.
I don't disagree with that. Cause I do think that both of these things are faith-based. Like I think hoping for something is faith. Trusting is faith. So that I think that I agree with you. They're not exactly the same, but I would say they kind of nuanced. Mike, what you think about the question? You remember? You need me to repeat it? Do you have to love someone to trust them?
Man, I'm gonna probably say, yeah. I don't say I love you and don't got some type of trust for you. Like, well, then again, I don't know. You can change that. You can be like, you love somebody, and be like, I don't trust that. But me personally, like, Kel. Oh, excuse me. Stop, bro. But yeah, I think you gotta have some type of I don't. Me personally, like there's some type of love interest together. So I'm gonna say yeah.
So I agree with Priest on this one, only because you can't do both of those things without the other. Like you could trust somebody and not love them, and then you can't love them and not trust them. It's like if I use like real life situation, I got family members that I love, but I don't trust them like at all. like
Understandable.
literally at
No,
all.
I can see it that way if you put it that way. I understand that.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like you can love somebody and then don't trust them, and then you can trust people. Like I said, you can trust them and then don't have love for them. Like I could trust. I guess it's easy for me to address trust because I actually believe more in the human nature than anything else. So I do trust people to be who they are.
Right.
And me trusting you to be who you are don't mean I got to be like, I love that individual. So I kind of agree with that. But Will said something about 100%. So I got a question. Is there ever a placement in any circumstance, whether it's relationships, your friendships, or even mother, father, ever? Is there ever a placement of 100% trust in anybody?
Man, that's so hard to.
No.
Yeah, I don't. Earlier, I did say yes. I did say yes earlier because I was thinking about unconditional love. Because love and trust is, they're going hand in hand to me.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But I gotta change what I said. You know what I'm saying? Because I was thinking about my kids and even your parents and I love my children unconditionally, but I don't know if I can always trust them to make the right decisions.
Okay. I understand. You just outrightly, you just said no. Ain't never a placement.
No.
We would like to, but I don't think it's no.
Honestly, I don't even think it's kind of smart to trust anybody 100% because you really going on faith, like for real. 100%. Like, yeah, I could trust in human nature. I could trust you to be you, but I wouldn't say I think when you trust somebody 100%, that's like saying you don't believe that this person can be something else other than what you think they are.
Okay.
Yeah, because anything can happen. You know what I'm saying? Even if we talking about a business venture, and I know that this person always comes through, and there's never no excuse for this person. Anything can always happen. So I may trust this person 100% because we might have had the transaction. We might have done that 100 times, but that 101 time it might not go right. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
Mike Joe, what you think about that question? Is there ever a placement for 100% trust?
I'm gonna say, I don't know. I'm a little confused. What do you mean like 100% trust? I feel like
100%. Like you trust them 100%. There's not a doubt in your mind.
I'm not gonna put like it as a percent. It's either trust or not. Just straight like that. I mean, if I trust you, that's all in. I don't got no. Oh, I 50% trust you. Like I think like if I say trust, it's all in. If not, be like I don't trust your ass. So,
that's in every category to the person.
Yes. Okay. I mean, I don't think a percent should be put on trust as far as like how can you trust somebody in a percent? Like I trust you 90%. Like that's crazy. But yeah.
So I agree with when Capri said that. I do believe that it's dangerous.
That's not my name.
My bad. I'm sorry. I am she. I do agree that it is dangerous for 100%. And when I say 100%, I look at it as so if we want to put it in a graph, we'll use like a pie chart, right? Every aspect a person can't be trusted. Like you might trust people, like say within a relationship, right? You might trust a person like there's the financial side, then there might be the fidelity side, and then they might just be other responsibilities and things of that nature. And sometimes people could be trustworthy in one area, but then not be trustworthy in another area. You know what I'm saying? Well, yeah. So I think that I don't believe it's all the way in, all the way out, because I think people are flawed, and I think there's like levels to trust, because everybody can't come through every time on the same stuff on top of everything. That's just the nature of people, though. So I don't really agree with the all in, all out. I do think there's levels to it, though. I think that now I don't believe we have to put a percentage on it, like how Mike said. But I do think it's levels, though. I think it's like I might can trust you for this, but I know I can't rely on you or trust you for this.
Yeah, you basically categorizing it. You ain't really, I don't know, like you ain't really like you just categorizing it. You still gonna be like all in or not. You just got in the categories.
Yeah, that's why but see, that's why I asked you the question. I said, is that trusting in all categories, though? That's
Yeah, because like basically what you're saying, like say you're in a relationship. Go ahead, Mike. My bad.
I'm not gonna say all categories. I mean, like I'm gonna trust you to do this, or I'm not gonna trust you to do that. But I mean, like, like that. I ain't got it as like, damn, I trust you with everything. Nah.
I feel like what he's saying though, because it is categories. Because you might be with somebody, and they might always be on the bills, like. You know what I'm saying? Always on their part of the bills. You can trust them to pay their bills, but you might not be able to trust them not to cheat. You feel me? So it is definitely a different category.
But I agree with you, Mike. Though if we talking about the specifics, it is either you trust them or you don't. So if we talking about in terms of fidelity, yes, you either trust them or you don't. Even when like how was it? Even when it comes to like paying the bills, you either trust them or you don't. So I think when we deal with specifics, yes, it is an all in, all out on the specifics. But it's generality, then no. So I do agree with you on that. All right, we're gonna get a little deeper into this thing now. I got one before I hit this one. How hard is trust the game back once it's lost? And I know that this is more so like a personal question as I'm gonna ask each individual. For y'all's sakes, how hard is it trust to be gained back once it's lost? Let me see. I'll start with it.
It's extremely hard, bro. Extremely hard. You know, you might depend on the relationship. You might spend the rest of your life trying to make that motherfucker believe they can trust you. You know what I'm saying? It's extremely hard once you because that's such a scar you put on people when you fuck their trust up. Because now I know that you're actually capable of doing me this way. You know what I'm saying?
So is it safe to say that some people do look at like they look at people like as if that there's not a possibility it can happen until they show it to them?
I feel like people know there's the possibility it might happen, but will that person actually take it to cross you? You know what I'm saying? You might feel like, you know what I'm saying, this person never crossed me. But then when they do, now you know in your mind, they got it up in them to do that. That's in you. So, yeah, it's going to be hard to come back from that. It's going to be hard to come back from that.
Okay. Mike Joe, what you think about that, man? How hard is trust the game back once it's lost?
Shit, I feel like a lot. Cause if you break that trust, then I'm like, at one point I'd be like, I never had to kind of look at you, you know, having words. But now, like, you broke that trust, so it's like now I got to, you know what I'm saying? I got to watch you now. I got to look out the side of my eye and be like, just a little curious. I'm about to say I don't really have the trust, so it'll be hard for me to come back from it.
Okay. I am she. What you think about that? How hard is trust to be gained back once it's lost?
For me, there is no comeback. Because I don't have time to be in a relationship where I'm constantly worried that you're going to do the same shit that you did before. You're going to revert back. Even if you be like, oh, I changed and I'm different now, I'm going to be always in the back of my head like, oh, this nigga could revert back to who he was before. That's not a happy mindset for me to be in. That's not a good mindset for me to be in. So it's not coming back at all.
Is that for all people, or is that just like within the realm of couples? Like, do you hold that same thing towards friends? Do you hold that same stance towards family, or is that just towards in a relationship? Because some people it's only for certain people. That's why I'm asking.
And then it could be for only certain things too. Like,
it's for me. It's for everybody. I probably would give a little bit more grace to like my immediate family, as far as like my mother, my pops, my sisters and brothers, but cousins and uncles and shit, nah.
Yeah, when it comes to a point where you got to feed somebody with a long handled spoon, it ain't gonna work in relationships. Cause you got to see that mug every day. You got to be in the bed with them. You gonna be around them every day. See, like friends, you ain't got to be around them every day. So yeah, I know I might know you a grimy nigga, but I ain't got to hang with you as much. I ain't really got to be around you like that. But if you talking about relationship, we gonna have to be around each other every day. So that trust got to be there. If it ain't there, we laying up every day, dealing with each other every day. That ain't gonna work.
And that was why I asked that about the coupleships, though, because I was like, I understand how hard it is on the coupleship side, because you're typically in a placement of a lot of vulnerability when it's the person you choose to lay down with, and not so much as it when it comes to your friends. So that was why I asked that question. Was it across the board? Because I think it'll be a little bit more specific depending on, the person or the circumstance. So we talk about law. So is there a time frame of how long it takes for you to trust somebody, or is this like a genuine thing? Like, how long does it take before you actually decide to trust people? Because some people, you don't believe in trusting people right off the bat, and then some people trust people right off the bat. Some people, a lot more trusting than others. Is there a particular time frame for that? So how long does it take before you can really trust somebody?
I don't know if it's a time frame. I think it's just a certain amount of situations that you peep. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna see how they handle a few situations. They're gonna let you know the type of person they is right there.
Okay. IMC, what you think about that?
It depends on the type of trust. Like, I could automatically trust a person like to be who they are, I mean, I'm only gonna go by your word unless you show me something different. And I'm gonna trust in human nature. And as far as like, am I gonna trust you with my livelihood and all that? Yeah, that's gonna take some more time.
Okay. Mike Joe, what you think about that? Is there a time frame of when you can really trust somebody? He might be dealing with the youngest right now, so I'm gonna go ahead. I'll go ahead and address it.
But yeah, go ahead though. I'm dealing with it real quick.
I got you. Yeah, like I don't think that it's really a time limit. I'm one of them people. I believe in genuinely connecting with people, so there's never a time limit. I think that what I'm saying, you develop the bond of how y'all move forward and how y'all go along, and I think circumstances do matter though, because I'm always a person who say you never really, like, when it comes to people being there for you. I always say this, like, you never really know who's there for you if you never cross hardship though. Like, that's family, friends, and even then coupleships. You know what I'm saying? Like, you never really know. Like, a lot of people do give you that level of trust and all that stuff, and they be like, yeah, if somebody could just say they'll be there for you, all this other stuff like that. But you never really know if there's no reason to prove it. Like if everything is always good, you really don't know if a person's really there for you or not. It ain't until hard times come that you really can actually determine whether or not that person is really there for you. So I think when it comes to like the category of being really for somebody, I think it needs a little bit of hardship to really be able to see what it's what, personally. Because everybody say a lot of stuff.
I heard a few men say this, like, we got to go through hardship. Like, what kind of hardships? Because, like, it seemed like to me when some men say this, like, they conjure up a hardship. And it's like, now I don't trust you because you making shit up just for it to be a hardship to see how I'm going to react or see if I'm going to be down for you or whatever. Like, you can traumatize somebody by going through a hardship just to see how they're gonna react. Like, what's this level of hardship? Is it like
you speaking to like somebody who's purposely putting somebody in a place just to test them?
Yeah, but if you don't purposely never put them in a place and we don't really go through no real hardships, then that means you just ain't gonna really never trust this person.
So when I say hardship, I'm speaking to discomfort, right? Because hardship is many different levels. Like the severity of a hardship really depends on the person, right? So the same way women love to say they want emotional security. Well, you going through something in your personal life, it don't even have to be with that person. And them not being there for you or talking certain things out is a hardship. Like, it's hard for you. It doesn't have to be you and them, right? It doesn't have to be something trying with them. It's about, because you could be going through things in your life and that person is being there for you. It doesn't have to be me and her, me and her, me and her. It could be some shit with me and my mans and she being there for me. It could be some shit, me and one of my baby mamas, and she's being there for me. It could be other things, It could be me losing my job, and she's there for me. It doesn't have to be me trying her or her trying me. Hardship is typically discomfort. So when you say what kind, it's usually a discomfort, because most people quick to say they out when they are not being satisfied at the moment. So when I speak to hardship, I'm talking about when a person is dealing with a discomfort. That's what I'm speaking to.
So are you saying like until you go through this hardship, you really don't trust the women that you with?
I say you really can't trust that they're going to be there for you. Remember, it's categories. You can trust them, but I don't really trust that they'll be there for me.
But then you said trust is a faith-based thing. So why do you have to go through a hardship if it's a faith-based thing? Because faith means like you're believing in something that you're hoping and believing in something that you truly can't pinpoint or see. So,
yeah, but you've heard me say this plenty of times. I say this all the time. I'm not a faith-based person to a large extent, though. I do believe people have to show and prove. So it's very little that I give you a grace of faith to it. I'm not that trusting of a person, if I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't trust many people to a certain degree, though. I trust in your nature, but that's as far as typically my trust goes. That's me personally. I simply trust your nature more. I trust you're gonna be who you're gonna be. Now, when it comes to like particulars, most people, I don't have those areas for them. Even when it comes to my parents, I really don't. I'm not that trusting of a guy to other people. I'm honestly not. Because I always say this time and time again, man's natural nature is evil. That's why it's so much harder for people to do good. And because I understand that most people's natural nature is to do something wrong, something crazy, I don't place a lot of that in people. I just trust you to be who you are. That's it. But it's a different thing when we're talking about trusting someone to actually be there for you. Like I can trust you to be who you are, but that doesn't mean I trust you to actually be there for me. Because I tell this to people all the time. I don't think I'm that special, right? Like I don't walk around with that ego like I'm that nigga, yo. Oh, I know you gonna hold me down because I'm that nigga. No. I don't believe in it. I always question the alliances. Like, why are you here? I always question the agenda. I always question motives. Why are you here? You think I got a little money? Why are you underneath me? I question this all the time. Like, what is your motive for dealing with me? I've always questioned these type of things, though. That's just me, though.
And you ask these people that?
Yes. If I see it's one of them things where it requires that, I have to question it. Like if I see things that look a little iffy, or because especially like we talking about going into a relationship and we talking about really, really, really getting serious, that's definitely in the forefront of it. Like, why are you here? Like, what do you want?
But you said
because I also understand the way people are today, and most people don't really like people like that. So I'm definitely going to question your motives and why are you in it like that? Because like I say, I don't believe I'm that special to where you just like me so much. I don't believe that.
So that's only going into a serious relationship. It's not a person just dealing with you that you're going to ask that question.
I said I would. I said it depends on how the circumstances are going. Like if it's like it could be even with like a friend. It depends on the layout of what's going on to where I need to be able to actually verify your placement in position. It just depends on the scenario when it comes to friends, because some people you can keep them at bay and y'all don't really have to deal with each other like that. You know what I'm saying? The reason why it's way more direct when it comes to a relationship, because I say your vulnerabilities lie there. Like you lie next to this person every night. We have to address that up front because you're here all the time, just like how Will said earlier. But when it's a person who you catch every now and then, I don't have to throw it to you right up front. It's typically going to be scenario based now. Like, hey, bro, we going on this side of town, man. We got to go past it. Hey, bro, if some shit happened, I need to know, nigga. You got me, or do I need to be going on my own? You know what I'm saying? It's usually gonna be.
And see, I don't even hang with people who I even got to question that. I ain't gonna lie. If I'm going to that situation, if I got to question that, I ain't even messing with you.
I ain't hanging with people that know that this area is dangerous and you trying to go over there. Like, nah.
So one of the reasons why I say that,
right up front, if you be like, "Oh, we going into this dangerous areas, you're gonna have my back," I'm not going with you. Why are you going somewhere that's dangerous? I'm not
They
going.
might be going to pick their kids up.
I'm not. Why is your kids in the danger? That's even worse.
Everybody don't have the luxury of staying in nice neighborhoods.
We can't help where a lot of our family members live. Some of our family members live in hood areas. We can't just because some of us can make it out doesn't mean the whole family make it out, dog.
I agree with that. Like for me, like I don't like where my brothers and sisters live, but I'm not going there. If y'all want to see me, y'all gotta come here.
Now I understand it, but one of the reasons why I bring that up is because I've been around people, right? Because a lot of times people make an assumption, and you know me, I don't believe in making assumptions. Why assume if you right here and I can ask you the motherfucking question? I've been around guys who talk really, really big, and I done stumbled into the mix of some things, thinking guys are literally about to go. They got your back, and then when you turn around, niggas is like Casper. I think it's important to verify these type of things because everybody don't get down the way that you get down. Everybody ain't that beat on their chest. Oh, I'm about to ride. Some people be like, yo, I'm your dog. Oh, bro, but I'm not holding it down. I think you need to know that. You need to know who's actually going to be there, who's not. Because you got somebody who's close to you. Because you got somebody, your friend, they might not be as violent as you. Like I had a homeboy who was like really non-violent. I mean, really non-violent. I'm talking about you could be beating that nigga ass and he will not fight back. This is important to know. This is very important to know. I wish Matt was on. Matt to know who I'm like, where I'm going with this. But I had a homeboy like that, and they're not like that. This is important to know. Because if some shit happened and you're not like that, I know that I'm alone. So I know how to adjust my decision because I know that there is nobody watching my back because you're going to disappear. Now, I'm not going to hold your non-violence against you, but I still need to know somebody's watching my back, though. That's the thing. Because there's a big difference if I go into a situation knowing I got to watch my own six versus I know somebody's there watching my six. This is important.
What is this? What does six mean? What is that? Six. It sounds very ghetto.
It's actually a military term, actually. So we look at it as like when you like looking at a clock that we typically always face 12 o'clock and behind us is the 6.
Oh, that makes sense.
It's a military term. It's not ghetto. So
because the people out here say it is rather you could say ghetto. So I guess.
All right. I don't even remember what question we was originally on. There we go. All right. Now we're gonna get a little deeper. Who do you believe has a harder time trusting? Men or women? And I'm not talking just relationships, y'all. I'm talking all around general. Who do you think has the harder time of being trusting of people? Men or women?
I think that could be individually based, but if we speak in general, I think men.
Okay. Well, Willie D, what you think, man? Who do you think personally, man, has a harder time trusting, men or women?
I think men. I don't know if it's because I'm a man and I deal with it myself. That might be why my answer is more so like that. But I think men. I do think men because we got so many things that we have to hold in and hold back, not wanting to be used against us in the future. Not so many things we can't say or express. You know what I'm saying? That that women will and that women can. So I feel like men definitely.
Okay. Mike Joe, what you think, man? Who has a harder time trusting, in your opinion, men or women?
I'm gonna say, man, just on the fact, like from what I see, like a lot, or where I'm at, like women, just I don't know, like they have a lot of friends, and sometimes like they act like they friends, but then talk behind each other and do stuff behind each other back, like. I don't know, y'all. I don't know what to call it, but as far as having the trust stuff, I'm just saying, man.
So I'm in agreement with y'all. I definitely think that men have a harder time trusting, but I think it's because men actually play more of the variable game. So when you look at things from a logical state of mind, you typically kind of waive a probability and possibility a lot more heavier. than I think women. I think women are a lot more caring to the point where they'll give you trust than men. Most men typically hold you on directly upon what they see, and they're not just because they give you a little bit of leeway, they ain't really still trying to trust you. Like we're not as easily as impressionable as like how a lot of women. Like a lot of women actually do give you a lot of faith upon your words. Me, I don't believe in trusting people off their words. I believe in trusting your actions. I don't give a fuck about what you say because your words don't mean shit. So I think I hear people say they big on trusting words. I think you're going to be very easily to be deceived because you're just going to give them trust just because they said it. I don't live in that realm. I believe in trusting your actions. I don't care what you say because that's why they always say actions speak louder than words. So I believe in watching your movements, watching your mannerisms, and watching what you do, not what you say. What you say don't mean anything to me. So I definitely agree. I think men have a harder time definitely trusting than women.
And I say men too because I think men really, because women typically don't really know men's nature because men are not really honest with women, not even their fathers. They don't tell women how men is really moving out here. But from a man perspective, like they know how men is moving. They know how niggas could be shiesty. They know how niggas could, be ratting you out to your girl to get with your girl and all type of shit. So I think because they see all that as well, they not easy to be trusting, especially other men as well. Because niggas move shiesty as hell. I think every man has moved shiesty one point in time in his goddamn life.
I don't disagree with it.
But
I don't disagree with this concept. But one thing though, I do admire though a lot of men, especially when it comes to like their children though. Women care so much about their imagery. A lot of women aren't honest with their kids about their past. I think men do a better job of actually giving their kids the truth. Like if I'm telling my daughter about dodging men, I'll be more honest and be like, no, the reason why I'm telling you this because I was that nigga and I know what it's like to dog a bitch out. I know what it's like that. So I think men do a better job of warning people from them and actually letting you see that I was the bad guy, because a lot of people don't understand that relativity actually can help people open up a lot more. And when you try to teach people from this Jesus mindset, which is people kind of trying to have a perfect image, because women do it a lot, that I'm just a good person. A lot of times people don't want to be open with you because if you're so goddamn perfect, you're going to look down on me. And this is the perception that a lot of people take when you're dealing with people who always sell a perfection in front of you. And a lot of times that when you get somebody who ain't trying to sell a perfection and they actually be like, yo, listen, I'm telling you this because I be fucking up. Most people are more inclined to listen to that person who says they be fucking up than that person who always make it seem like, nah, man, this is the way you got to do it, man. This how it is, and boom, boom, boom. It's like this, man. You got to be super positive and all that other stuff like that. Most people just typically aren't inclined to hear you. They can't relate.
I kind of disagree a little bit as far as like men are typically more honest with their kids. I think it also goes on gender based. I think men are typically more honest with their sons than their daughters. They try to shield their daughters and tell them like just don't do this and don't do that, but they don't tell them why.
Oh, that ain't true.
No, but you going up.
Most guys with their daughters, they actually are.
That's definitely not true. I got 6 daughters, and I'm definitely gonna tell them the real.
But you going off on antidote. I'm going off by like if we gonna go for antidotes because we don't know everybody, we don't know every man in this world. If I'm going off my antidote, I was just told not to do it, not the reason why.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna let my daughters know that you can
spectrum of when having conversation with guys, even having conversation with guys, and how even when guys talk amongst other guys, right? Guys actually admit they're wrong. Now a guy might not admit they're wrong to the woman they're talking to, and I think this is where people might get a little confused. See, that guy might lie to you, but when you actually sit down with guys and you fucking up, and you around guys who be like, yo, bro, you fucking up. Guys actually admit their fuck ups amongst people. Even there other guys and people who claim to be way more positive or negative. Guys actually do admit it. Now, they might not admit it to that woman they with. And I'm keep saying that because guys, they typically don't tell her truth. But guys typically own up to it. even in regular conversations, guys will tell you I fucked up. So they do it, and most guys do it with their kids too, because that's part of the protection. They be like, no, listen, I'm telling you to watch these niggas because I was these niggas. Most guys ain't selling, they weren't these type of people when they talk to their daughters. Most guys ain't trying to sell a level of perfection to their daughters. They're actually telling them, no, we was fucking up. Women do that.
And not only that, just telling them the things that can happen.
Look.
You also gotta let them know about the things that can happen too, because you want to protect your daughter from everything, and not being real with them ain't protecting them. You definitely got to let them know motherfuckers rape, motherfuckers kill. You can't, you know what I'm saying? Don't be going to no hotel room with no nigga thinking y'all just about to chill because he definitely wants something. You got to let them know that. You got to let your daughters know that.
And I don't think men have a problem explaining the why. That's this person.
I'm just speaking from my experience, so
I don't knock your experience.
Yeah, no, and it's actually a scary feeling when you think about your daughter and the way the world is. You don't want to shield her from the real, because that's, little girls are so innocent. I got 6 of them. Like I said, they're so innocent. You don't want the world to get a hold of them and for them to teach them these things like that. So you got to let them know that.
So it's a different field, just basically from your daughter and your son, basically.
Well, my son. See, when you got a boy, you only got to worry about one dick. When you got a girl, you got to worry about everybody's dick. So with your son, you can definitely, you know what I'm saying?
It's definitely a double standard. Like, it's like you tell the boys.
It's not double standard. Men and women aren't the same. Boys and girls aren't the same.
Go out, it's no problem with you losing your virginity and blah blah blah, and fuck as many bitches as you can. But when
I would never tell my son that. That's wild.
When it's your daughter, like, oh no, like, don't have sex till you 50 and you better get married, and it is just so much different.
If you're telling your son to go fuck as many bitches as you can, you definitely failing as a father. Definitely.
That's definitely what Gen X's did to the millennials.
You definitely failing as a father if you're telling your son that, with all these STDs out here and even having children.
They telling their sons to get married before you get married before you have sex with a woman. They ain't telling their sons that.
I'm not gonna tell my son that, because I don't feel like you have to get married before you have sex with somebody.
They tell them get it out your system, so by the time you meet your wife, you ain't got no reason, to cheat, and it's not gonna be no temptation to you because you got it out your system. But
so can I ask a question? Do you think it's wise to not have sex until you're married with a person?
Huh?
Do you think it's wise for 2 people not to have sex until they're married?
I don't know. I don't know. I can't.
I was asking because that's what you just said, or whatever. I was asking.
But I'm going off the message that men be trying to tell women, like, oh, you shouldn't be having sex outside of marriage and all of that, and don't be out here racking up a bunch of bodies and all that. But niggas could run up bodies like crazy. They ain't telling their sons to preserve themselves. And
so, as far as me, my message is the same. There is no double standard between my sons and my daughters. I push the same information, the exact same message, the exact same way. Because I think that in order for you to really learn, you need to know all sides. Because to me, like I always tell people, I always compare everything I do within martial arts because I've been doing it for so long. I'm not going to teach somebody a lack therein of defense and then give one person more than the other, or a lack therein offense than the other. And I'm going to teach you everything I know upon both. I'm going to show you everything I know as far as offense, and I'm going to show you everything that I know in defense. Now, what I will do, though, is I will understand which child that I'm talking to, because I have 5. I will make sure that I understand which child that I'm talking to, and then I will then craft it to fit that child. Because I know talking to my oldest son and then talking to my second son, it's not the different, because their personalities are different. So I know the way that I deliver it to E is different than the way I deliver it to Zai. I know this. They move different. They they're different, even though they.
So are you saying your approach is different, but the message is still the same?
No. My approach is still going to be the same. I said, but I'm going to craft it. Like I'm going to craft the learning experience behind it. Like the application of it is going to be different. But I'm going to deliver it the exact same way. But there are different
It's
ways
going to be
to
a
show
different
people how to
message.
go about
So
things.
basically, it's going to be a different message, but the same approach.
No, it's going to be the same message. I'm going to craft your application different. Like I'm going to teach. I will teach Zai to walk a different way than I would teach E to walk because they're different. They move naturally different. So they're going to get the exact same message. They're going to get it the same exact way. But I do know they walk differently. So I would have then adjust the way he moved differently than I would adjust the way he moved. I'm going to hone in on certain fallacies I see on him more than I will see on fallacies on him. Like you might have one child who's more gullible than the other. So now the application side, I'm going to push the gullibility concept of it differently than I would do the other son. But y'all going to get the same exact message.
Give me an example so I can understand better.
I just did with the gullibility.
Like, give me an example of a message that you teaching both of your sons, but you would say it like the same.
I just
message.
did with gullibility. Say if one son has a weakness and he's a quick lover, he always falls for women, and then the other son carry actually moves more like as a player, right? My message would be exactly the same. You need to be careful out here, bro. You need to watch how you maneuver. We're going to talk about the sexual experiences. We're going to talk about the kids. We're going to talk about where it's going to take you. All these messages are going to be the same. Then I'm going to now attack their personal base. I'm gonna be like, bro, you got a big heart, boy. You be falling for him. I'm gonna start talking to him about, bro, you need to kind of hone back and know how to really be able to observe and vet differently because you got a big heart. You need to learn how to pull back off the heart. See, I don't have to do that with both because if the other one ain't, he more of the player, he ain't falling. So I don't have to act like he's gonna hear it, but I don't have to craft his that way because he doesn't have that problem. It's just like teaching martial arts. If Will can get the round kick and you can't get the round kick, I don't have to teach application the same because he got it. I have to craft you more. He has it. Y'all gonna get the same lesson, but I don't have to craft it the same because you got it. That's what I'm saying. So the application form of it is going to be different.
So what would be the message to the one?
The ultimate message would be don't get out here wilding, having kids, having unprotected sex. But for one, he would tell him, hey, you got these girls calling your phone. You out here, hey, you need to chill. You need to understand you a handsome man. You get, you know what I'm saying? The girls love you. The other one, you're going to be worrying about him so much getting his heart broke. So you want him to also, you want him to also know about STDs and all that. But the one that's out here that's more likely to be pulling them back to back and wilding, you're going to tell him about that. You know what I'm saying? But the one, you got different worries for different children.
All right, boy, you playing with these girls' hearts and all the other stuff like that. I'm going to be focusing more. They're both going to get the message, but I'm going to focus more on this concept because this is how he's moving. Just like how Will said. The other one, I'm going to be focusing a lot more on him getting his heart broken. The other one, I'm going to be focused more on him breaking hearts. They're going to get the same message, though. But the focus point of it, what I'm crafting is going to be different because you have to craft based upon movement. So they're not getting different messages.
Because the ultimate message is to, respect women and respect yourself. That's the ultimate message.
To walk honorably. Be a man of your word. All this other stuff. The message is going to be the same.
Mm-hmm. I think men, like how you say you are, those are like, from my experience, those are minute that actually have those conversations with their sons too. I typically see it's like, get it out your system before you try to settle down because you're going to have that temptation. But for the girls, it's like, stay a virgin. Don't be letting anybody in between your legs and try to, you better not do nothing till you married.
Well, society is going to give you that anyway because there is a double standard around sex when it comes to just society in itself. So most people live on that socially economical plane. So you're going to get the double standard when it comes to that. I mean, ain't none of us about to do to actually change that. That's just what it's going to be. That's why I can only say for me, it's going to be exactly the same as how I teach it. Now, most people, I can agree with you, yes, because most people live on that plane.
And men and women are not the same. We're not the same. So we can say double standard all day, but we're not on the same level. We're not on the same page, men and women. We different. An owl and a dove are both birds, but one can do more than the other one can.
And because women are more emotional, there's going to be way more trauma with that woman moving around than there's going to be with that man moving around, though, like that. because she leans so much more on her emotions. That means every heartbreak typically is going to be a trauma moment. So even if you got a child like a boy, if he's a heavy lover and he falls a lot, he's gonna witness a lot of that trauma as well. Like who's ever more emotional, anytime you get in a situation where a person is more emotional, they're at the risk of way more trauma than the person who don't care as much. This is a fact. Because you're constantly putting your heart on the line. You're constantly going to get abused. That's for anybody. So it's not gender specific, but in this situation, women typically carry their heart more. So that's where your double standards are going to lie. So you're going to end up hitting more of that trauma than that guy would. Unless he's a guy who's a heavy lover, like he falls. I know a lot of, I know guys like that. So if you're a guy who falls, then it's going to be exactly the same. But most men aren't fallers like that. Honestly, they're not.
I mean, I get that. I just think it need to be more conversations of speaking to men on how important their seeds are, because they just told to get out there and do your thing, but then want to complain when they end up knocking up somebody that they don't like, and then this person put them on child support or have the baby against their wishes and all of that. So I think there definitely needs to be a message on how important their seeds are, and not just be out here having sex with just anybody. Like, I really don't understand how you can have sex with somebody that you dislike completely. Like,
please understand that happens, because I've been one person to do that.
I know it happens, but that's how much men penises guys them more than a fucking brain. That's crazy.
And women do it too, though. It's not just guys. Women do the same thing.
Yeah, I agree with that, but I think
most women, their emotions guide them rather than their brain.
Yeah. But then I also do think, like, as far as like you saying, like the trauma thing, like men could get their heart broken in goddamn junior high school and grow up to never fucking trust a woman again. Women could constantly get their heart broken and still have faith in the next man, and whatever. I like men,
because y'all work off emotions. Y'all don't work off of logic.
Men need therapy for real. That's not logical to go from a heartbreaking junior high school and then have this warped mindset that none of these bitches ain't shit. And
it's not. If you fall off the porch, it's not logical to understand if you fall again that you'll be hurt again. That's not logical.
I understand that's a possibility, but you don't put that generalization on every woman that you meet.
But you're gonna protect your feelings though.
Yeah, but you're not gonna put that generalization on every woman.
Only a fool not gonna protect their feelings.
Yeah, but like I said, men get their heart broken, then every woman ain't shit after that. So, every woman after that got to pay for what the bitch did in junior high school.
I mean, so you got guys who do that.
That's crazy.
It's guys that do that, but you got women who do that too, though.
Women do that too. They'll be with a nigga that ain't shit.
Because this is the thing.
I agree, but it's more in men than it is in women. Like,
that's not true.
Women are so much in love with just being in love and having somebody that they are typically more prone to forgive and move on.
Well, it's not really more than forgive. Women just openly like taking more chances than men.
Yeah. So
you'll meet 5 other niggas after and take a chance on all fucking 5. That man ain't about to take a chance on all 5 bitches that come after. That's the only difference. Men, that's what we're saying about the trusting. Women are more trusting of that nature because they'll try it again. Men ain't gonna keep trying it again like that. They're gonna throw up a lot of flags, like boom, 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 boom. All right, nah, I ain't doing this. This little, she did the same thing like this, boom, boom, boom. They're gonna actually try to be more honing in and try to be more precise about what had failed the first time. Women just try it again and try it again and try it again. But that's why I said that's where that trauma's opened up a lot more. But like I always tell people, this is the thing. This is why what makes it so crucial is that it only takes one bad relationship to ruin a person.
That's a fact.
It takes one. Like you don't have to go through 5, 6, 7 women. You don't have to go through 5, 6, 7 guys. It only takes one. That one man can fuck her up for life. That one woman can fuck him up for life. So since we're talking about this is a question I always wonder, right? Because I've been hearing women I always hear women love to say that they've been tricked or so-called finesse. So why do people say they be getting tricked when the finesse is already understood? So and I'm gearing this towards like relationships, right? Because women love to say a guy tricked them, but really it's just that women just because you so trusting, you just don't do your due diligence, in my opinion. What do y'all think about this? Why do women all like to say that they've been tricked? The finesse is very clearly understood.
Are you
I would like to hear from the woman.
Mike Joe ain't talked in a minute. Mike Joe, what do
Yeah.
you think about that, Mike?
How
Oh,
can
I
you
want to ask
from a
first.
woman's perspective?
How's the finesse understood first before I answer? Like,
So
Yeah, how's the finesse understood?
I
Because
got
it's some
y'all.
good finesses.
I
Your
got
actions
y'all.
matching your words.
I
Your
got
words
y'all.
matching your actions, but you have
I
an
got
underlying
y'all
agenda.
gonna
Like, that's
let,
crazy.
y'all gonna
Now,
let me give y'all.
I already don't agree with this.
Y'all gonna let me explain, right? So
Yeah.
when it comes to the avenue of something, when it comes to the avenue of say we all know that men typically want sex when they come across you. Men ain't looking at you saying, "Oh, she's just such an amazing person. She's gonna be this and she's gonna be all that and all that other stuff." You know that man want pussy, and you will get involved even if he's lying, you still know he wants pussy. Unless, because I will give you this credit, unless you just that naive as a person. Because I know women really do, and I say this all the time when I talk about being friends with women. Women really think guys like them like that. Most women are not interesting. They're corny. They're boring as fuck. They are. Most men don't really like y'all like that. But most women believe that guys are just so into them. It's just so special about you. When really, guys really just want to fuck. We know this. Women know this. So then when they get involved with a guy and say you end up pregnant, they say, "Oh, I didn't know he was going to be like this. I didn't know he was going to be an ain't shit dad." But you knew exactly what it was. You just didn't care enough because you were so into him. You just didn't look into and did your due diligence on this guy. Because ain't nothing about that saying he was going to be a good father.
I don't agree with that. Just because a nigga wanted to fuck you, that don't mean that you could predetermine how he's going to be as a father. Like you fucking me,
that's
you
my
gonna have sex with me has nothing to do with how I know you're gonna be a father. Because it could have been a one night stand, and this thing could be a great ass motherfucking father in the end.
But that's my point. That's my point. That's my point of why people, because a lot of women, but that's my point, because a lot of women say, "You tricked me." A lot of women say, "He tricked me," though. That's what I'm getting at. Because a lot of people say they're being tricked. That's the part I'm holding in.
I think they say that depending on what the man said to them.
Well, I'll say,
even if he said it, you still understand the finesse, though.
I'll say this.
You can't necessarily understand a finesse if a person is saying his action is matching his words, and up until you get pregnant, a nigga switch up. That's not you knowing that he's finessing you.
Hold on, I'll say this. With men as us, we when we find out when we want a woman real bad, and we know when we start seeing what she like in the beginning, a lot of dudes will transform themselves even into something that they're not, just to get close to her. Because I've been one. I'm not into going to church like that, but this has been a shorty that made me. I've been going to church just to just because I know that's what she was into. I wasn't into it. You know what I'm saying? But with all things in life, you can only fake it for so long before the real come out. You know what I'm saying? You can only fake for so long. But men, I have seen men become people that they're not to get in.
Or they haven't even changed who the person. They ain't even changed who they was. They just played a role.
I get that, but that is a small group of men that really are who they are when they first meet you. Most men are transforming themselves just to get in with you, and then later on down the line they switch up after shit start happening. Now after I get pregnant, now you want to switch up. So yes, it's still kind of a trick because these niggas are.
It ain't a trick.
Their actions are matching their words.
Wait. And I'm glad you said exactly what you said. You just now said that most men do this, which means you understand the finesse. The finesse is they're gonna wait. Listen. The finesse is I'm gonna do whatever it takes for me to get in. That's the finesse.
But you don't understand that until after you have experienced that. Women don't understand that until after they experience that, and then they get confirmation from other men that men does do this.
I'll give you this credit for the first relationship. But most people are saying this even in their latter years where they have already experienced this multiple times. So I'll give you that credit if we're talking about first relationship. But us in this community, we move very, very, very fast. So a lot of us has experienced this even way before we even get out of high school.
Yes,
most of us have.
I agree.
So, and most of the time when this is being said, this is not a first time offense for these people. This is a repetitive thing. They always say, I done heard women talk to multiple niggas and they say, he tricked me, he tricked me, he tricked me, he tricked me. Most of you know the finesse. You done lived through it multiple times. And you still getting tricked, even though you know the finesse.
I think that comes with giving yourself up too quick, too. You're giving up that sex too quick. Because
that's my entire
cloud thing.
They know, you do know the finesse. You just choose to ignore it. You know exactly the finesse. See, that's what it is, an accountability thing. Women don't like to admit, you know what? That was my dumb ass. I didn't do that what I was supposed to do.
You want to see how a nigga really feel about you? You want to see how a nigga feel about you? Don't give him no pussy. And that'll tell you right in the real him.
So Mike Joe, what you think about that? Why do people say why do people love to say they got tricked when they understand the finesse?
I'm gonna say just all the strength of how you say, I guess, just being naive to things, just thinking or hoping that it's gonna be one thing, even if it's understood, you're still hoping that it's gonna be like one thing, cause both of y'all got something that y'all want. So you might want that man real bad and just hoping like, well, maybe he'll change, or like he said this, he said that, and I trust he said it. It really ain't trust. You hoping he'll be this way, or hoping he'll do whatever. So I think it's based off of hope.
I'm gonna give another example before I go to Maddie B. I'm gonna take it off of relationships.
I get it when you coming from a man mindset, but y'all already don't understand that women really be having hope for niggas. Like, I hope this nigga I hope this nigga is different. I hope this nigga, but I do agree if it's happening multiple times, it's no longer a finesse. You just running through red flags. But you can't necessarily say in every instant, like, even if you understand that a man want to have sex with you, that's fine, because maybe she want to have sex with him too, but you cannot predict how this man will be as a father.
That was another point that I was going to with that concept.
Let me say, he tricked me as far as like, because it's men out here be saying they want the baby, they don't want you to get rid of it and all of that, and then turn around and be a fucking deadbeat ass motherfucking father. So like that's a fucking trick within itself as well.
When these things be seen, like how you was talking about these red flags,
they would be seen if people actually take their time and go through it. The only reason why people be saying the trick, like I keep saying, people don't do their due diligence. So you're so into the person, you just jump right into it. You don't take your time to see the bullshit in the man. That's why you saying is they're tricking you. Because just like anything somebody says, if you are around them long enough, they're actually
use the word trick. I would say lie. But
that's my point. But a lot of women use the word trick. No, I'm using the terms that people say.
A lot of women are using.
They say they're tricked.
It's a small group of women that saying trick. Most women use lie.
There ain't no small group. Most women say they've been tricked.
He lied to me. What I seen, it's a lie.
Most women say they've been tricked.
It's not trick.
So like I said, I'm gonna give another example, right? Before I go to Matt. When people go to a job, we're gonna take it off relationships. Jobs always tell you, they sell you a pitch like they for you. They'll tell you, man, it's about well-being, work-home life balance and all these other stuff like that. And then you start working the job, and then you realize they want you at that job all the time. They ain't want to give you no time off. And then you sit here like, well, damn, they tricked me. But we do know, especially if you've been in the workforce, you've experienced it. Like I said, I'll give you the first time. But most of us have worked many jobs, and we see the finesse job after job after job after job. And we'll still go to another job and say, They finessing me. They told me they was gonna give me these weekends. They was gonna give me 3-4 days off, but they ain't giving me number one day off. We do it all the time, even though you understand the finesse. We understand that the finesse is, listen, that job just want you to be productive and get as much out of you as they can. They don't really care about you. This is what they want. The same way with the men. He ain't really care about you. This is just what he wants. But you take what it is that they say. See, it doesn't really matter what they say, because you do understand the layout, and the layout is the finesse. So even if someone is saying it, you choosing to just accept their words. Like I said earlier, I don't believe in trusting the words of people. I trust the actions. So I don't have no trust in you just because you talking. If I ain't actually see you do nothing, nigga, I ain't trusting nothing. Like I ain't care about you talking. That don't mean nothing to me. So
it ain't no trust. All you really doing is hoping, right? With everything. Like, you gonna trust what the job tell you. Oh, we said this, but when you get there, it's something totally different. You trust what they said. Really, all you doing is hoping it don't be that way after the first time. So it's like, damn, I done heard this before. So let me go ahead and I hope it don't be like my last job.
And that's why I agree with Caprice when she was like, hoping and trust is different. They are different, but they both are faith-based.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that, but I don't think it's more so of women going forward with other men, like they don't know the finesse. They just hoping it's something different. They not gonna give up until they find the men that they want to be with or want to be with them. Like, you see, because then we have the men that say like, oh, just because he did some things like the last nigga, that mean you gonna give up on him because he could have been different. Like, you should give it time because he could be different. So it's like, should I give up or not? Because like, you're telling me, oh, if I see certain things that, oh, I should understand that this is a finesse, but I shouldn't give up because this person could be different. Like, so it's just like, it's just so.
So I'm not telling people. I'm not telling somebody what to do. My thing is speaking to the people who like to say that they've been tricked, because that's the point. The point is that most of us do understand the finesse. So that's why my question was, why do people tend to say they tricked? Like, some people who understand, they're gonna be like, nah, I just understood it. I just ignored it. But my question was towards the people who like to say they've been tricked, but the finesse is understood. It was actually just very more specific to those people who like to say they've been tricked. That's all.
And then I see it on, like, as far as the men, like, oh, she told me she was on birth control and she told me she couldn't get pregnant and all this and that. Oh, but you still did it. So
that's also the same thing. That's the same thing. That's a man who said he's been tricked.
She tricked me, or
he understood the finesse.
How the fuck can a woman that you got pregnant could trap you, nigga?
I agree with that. And that's the same exact thing I'm saying. That even men know the finesse behind it, but then men will even try to turn around and say, she got me, she tricked me. Yeah. But we do understand the finesse. And that's my whole point, that we do know the layout now. Well, we got to stop saying we don't know the layout. We understand the finesse. Most people just choose to ignore it. Matty B, man, bless us with your vocals, brother. What you think about this discussion that we having of why do people say they've been tricked, man, when they understand the finesse, bro?
I just think people care more about how they feel and what should happen more so than what's actually going on. I think a lot of people get caught up in how things are feeling, you know, like the magic of it, especially when it comes to like females. I heard like the conversation I was hearing y'all say. I think females can have two guys they talking to, right? Like, say example, in the dating stage before they actually like getting with a guy. And they can have one guy that they know, I ain't gonna say for sure because nothing is for sure, but they know based on how he's moving, he's probably the better option. But if that guy don't make them feel like how the other guy feel, they'll still go with the other guy. And then if it don't work out, say they were tricked. Because instead of going by the actions, they go by how they think they should feel when they get into a relationship rather than the actions of the person. You know, so I mean, everybody gonna tell you at the beginning what you want to hear, what they think is gonna get them the results. That's gonna be a normal thing that you come across every person. You just gotta look at the actions of the person. But I think most people, when it comes to the men and female, they care more about how things make them feel, and they want that to work more so than the thing that may be better for them, but don't actually feel as good. So, really you finessing yourself. You got an idea of what you think should work rather than looking at, the actions of what's actually going on. So I think most people are just blinded by what feels better.
I think that aligns with just like how what Capri said. I think that aligns with what she said about the hope.
I don't agree with that. I think the problem is because nobody want to take accountability for why the shit ended up the way that it ended up. It don't have nothing to do with how somebody feel, because a nigga could still move. His actions could still be saying what he's saying. His actions could match his words, and he could still be finessing you. It's just a point of people want to be in this victim mindset and don't want to take accountability for the fucked up relationships that they done got themselves into, especially women, and they want to play this victim role so they don't have to deal with the look of you failed at this or you felt at that. It don't have nothing to do with how that woman felt or if one nigga made her feel this way and the other nigga actions, because that nigga that don't mean that because that nigga was showing her something through his actions that he wasn't finessing her either.
So I mean, you're not really saying anything. Like we're all still saying the exact same thing.
No, we're not.
It's still aligns. Like you really ain't said nothing different than like how Matt was saying, because it is predicated. Like the reason of why somebody would say they've been tricked is because their whole way of movement, their hope was based upon their feelings. You know what I'm saying? And because now their feelings are hurt, now they feel like they've been tricked out because they felt like they lost. So it's just like how you said, it goes to accountability. Instead of you just saying, you know what, I ignored the signs, you rather say he tricked me. Or instead of the guy saying I ignored the signs, and I know women do play this game when it comes to the babies and stuff like that, he'll rather say she tricked me. I agree with it. It is an accountability thing, but I think it is predicated upon people's feelings as well.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with that. I just don't understand the example he used as far as like, oh, you could be dating two guys and this man actions could be showing you something different and you could be feeling the other person. I don't think that example had anything to do with just based on like the principle of it. Like they just don't want to take accountability. I don't know how that example even coexists with it. Like I just don't.
When you say they don't want to take accountability, you're talking about I'm speaking from the person that's getting tricked side. I'm not saying the other person. I'm not speaking from the person that's doing the tricking side. Are you? Because they do have some accountability too, but I don't think they give a fuck if they're getting what they want to get.
No,
it's the person who getting used that need to do due diligence on not getting used. It's not the person because the person that's doing what they want to do, they don't care what we say because they got what they want. So I'm speaking from the person that don't want it to happen.
Yeah, I mean, and what I'm saying is I agree with everything you said after the example you use. I don't understand how the example of like a woman could be dating two men at the same time and this man actions could be showing her that he really, want to be with her, but she could go with somebody else and based on how he make her feel. I don't understand how that example.
I break it down for you because I've been in it before.
Take accountability for how either one, because I don't think. Like it just sounds like you're trying to say like,
because one guy may have
in their words when like either way you have to decipher through the finesse. A nigga could finesse through his actions, a nigga could finesse through his words. So that example, I don't think that example was a good example.
Okay, and you probably don't understand it, but what I'm telling you is. From my point of view, the way I look at it is I've seen the situation involving with me and I've seen the situation with other people and women I've talked to. Like where, let's say example, I use the same two guys, but one guy maybe had more charisma, but he's way more inconsistent. But when he is around her, it's a way better time than any guy she's ever been with. Even though he's inconsistent, when he comes around her, it's top-notch restaurants, it's nice cars, he knows the right music to play. He knows the right things to say to make her laugh. He has the right scent in his vehicle. He does more things with you that make you feel better than any other guy. But the other guy may be way more consistent. Even though you don't have the greatest time with him, he's way more consistent. You may be a little more bored with him. He may not have the personality of the guy that's less consistent. A lot of women will feel better with the guy they rarely see. That's doing way more and choose that guy over the guy that may be more consistent.
I don't know, Maddie B. I know a lot of women that like consistency.
I get what you're saying.
Older women or younger women?
I get what you're saying as far as like I get what you're saying as far as like women go with like how they feel typically more, but the example we're talking about is finessing. That man that's being consistent and all that he can still be finessing her.
Well, I ain't say it couldn't happen. I'm saying if you have a criteria of men, if you had like, for example, you had a dad or you had other older married women that you could talk to, or women that's been in long relationships. If you have a criteria of what you're looking for that's consistent with men that typically want to be husbands or men that typically want to be in relationships, then you will run across this issue less than if you go off feelings. I'm not. It could happen either way. Like I say, KG always says possibility. Nothing's gonna get you 100% guaranteed. And who said that everything has to last forever? Just because it don't last forever don't mean you've been finessed either.
Nobody, I don't think nobody talking about lasting forever. We're just talking about finessing. Period. People that
what would cause you to feel finessed?
They have been tricked. You saying because the man was consistent and because she was bored with him, he's not finessing her. He could still be finessing her within his consistent and all of that. He still want the pussy too. Like, so I don't understand how this man being consistent is not finessing her.
Well, everybody want the pussy, so I mean, if you're thinking that's a part of knowing you, why would I not want the pussy?
But we're talking about finessing, though. We're talking about when women say they done got tricked. So we're saying that he did all these things to get the pussy and just left her after that. That's when they feel like they done got tricked.
Well, so maybe he wasn't finessing her. Maybe she changed.
Oh my God. Okay, so we trying to put too many variables in this. Like
I'm just saying
that the example does not go with the concept of finessing. Yes, you go with the concept of like women typically go based on more of what they feel and whatever, blah blah blah. But I don't think because
I think everybody
more consistent and when you typically date men that actually want to be husbands, like cut it the fuck out. Most niggas out here don't want to be husbands. Like cut it out.
I think everybody at the beginning of a relationship is finessing. You just got to make sure you can get what you want to get out of it. And what I'm saying is, you can finesse too. Everybody's doing something for them finesse because no one actually respects 100% honesty. Everybody says that, but when you be 100% honest, no one actually get the results they want to get when they be 100% honest. Especially when you're dealing with younger people, whether it's a younger man or a younger female. To
be honest, the finesse is kind of necessary.
Yes.
For most people, right? Like even for men, right? Like even though women be like, yo, like don't get me wrong. There are instances where a man could just be outrightly blunt and just say, hey, sweetheart, I just want to fuck the shit out of you. And it works. But the majority of the time, if a man outrightly just come out and say that, it's not going to go in his favor. We do know that. And that's the finesse side I'm talking about. It's the same way like if a woman had outrightly just told you, hey, bro, I only want your money. It probably won't go the way that she wanted to go. The brother going to be like, oh, that's all you want, baby. Let me go in my pocket. Yeah, there may be instances where you may find a trick who might want to do this. But most of the time, that's probably not going to happen. So we do understand the finesse. And that was my point. That we do understand that in today's time, a lot of women do want your finances. A lot of men simply want your vagina. That's the finesse side of it. Now, whatever methodology they take to do the way that they choose to get in there, it is what it is. But we do understand the finesse itself, though, which is that's what they want, and they're going to say whatever it is to get what they want.
Right, which I agree with. I was just more so saying the example that he used, like he was trying to say, like the man that was being consistent and boring wasn't really trying to finesse her. The one that was being inconsistent, and because she went with him because how he made her feel and all that. Now she's mad because she done got tricked and all this and that. Like I don't see the connection between somebody being consistent and inconsistent. Both could still be finessing. We're talking about just strictly finessing. We're not talking about how the women feel about either one.
I never said they couldn't be finessed. I said the person typically finesse themselves. You also play a role into anytime you're being finessed, you play a role into it as well. Because even when Kevin mentioned the job thing, I'm gonna take my days off regardless of what you say. So now we're gonna have to come to a crossroad. Because when I go to a job, it's automatically no. Okay, you say this, you say work-life balance. You say I ain't gotta work no weekend. This. I'm automatically not coming in that day, and now we have to force the decision. You know, are you gonna keep me or are you gonna release me? What happens is people don't draw hard lines. They say they got hard lines, and when they start feeling the person, they start bending on their lines as well, which allows the finesse to happen. If you just have hard lines and say no matter how the person make me feel, I'm sticking to this, less and less people would get finesse altogether, whether it's men or female.
I mean, I kind of agree with that, but still, you can still be getting finesse. Like, even if you're not going based on how you feel and you're just going off based on how the person is moving, still can be finessed. So
I guess you less likely to get finesse with a dude that's more consistent, though. I guess because
how? Because niggas could be.
Well, I was about to say
they get the pussy and then they start being.
I was about to say how. I was about to say how.
Born dude, yo.
Because if you a man knows a real man, you being consistent with a woman, and you actually a man is about making your money, you don't have time for that. You barely got time for that one. So if he's making consistent time for you, the chance of you being finessed are less than the dude who's coming around once a month, once every 2 months.
Yeah, y'all being so disingenuous.
Now, I don't know about no other dude, but I work. I know.
So disingenuous.
Excuse me, ma'am. I was saying that I know Kevin got a very busy schedule. I got a busy schedule. A man who's about taking care of his business, which is the type of man a woman should be dealing with, he's not gonna have time for 2 women if he's being consistent. You're just not. When I'm working all throughout the day, when I come home, I'm ready to wash, clean up, eat, do whatever I got to do, handle my business. If you find a dude who got time for 2 females and to go to work, I'm telling you, something just ain't right. Something just ain't right. He's not being consistent with one of them females.
I agree with that. If we talk about dealing with 2 people, if he's just trying to get the pussy from one woman, he can still be consistent with that one woman. Like, it's all predicated on what that woman thinks consistency is. If she think hitting her up every day is consistent and he's always checking up on her and stuff like that. Like, men do that, and then as soon as they have sex with you, then they just fall off the motherfucking face of the earth, and now they start being inconsistent.
Well, getting the pussy,
men don't. It's men out there.
If a man gets your pussy one time and fall off the face of the earth, that means that shit was trash.
Oh my god!
Hey, don't think. What I was about to say. Don't think. Hold on, listen. Let me say one thing. Getting the pussy is also part of the vetting process. So maybe once I got the pussy, I realized, you know what, that ain't passed. That ain't been the grade I wanted it to be. So now that affects my relation. Don't think the pussy do reflect the relationship status as well. It's like how if the shit is straight trash, now my relationship, my want to be in a relationship with you has altered now.
I promise you, if a man fuck you one time and you never hear from him again, something went wrong.
Well, wait. Women do that too now. Like, women do
something's
that.
wrong.
That would be a determining factor for a lot of women too now. So
yes, of course.
That ain't the truth.
Okay, maybe I went to the extreme of dropping off the face of earth. I'm just saying he's less consistent. After he done experienced you, he's still gonna want to fuck every now and again, but he's not consistent no more. He's not hitting you up every day, asking you how you doing. He's not doing no more good morning, beautiful texts and all this and that. Like, none of that is happening no more because he already got what he wanted.
Well, that's with anything. When you get in a relationship, things are gonna fall back. When you get married, things are gonna fall back. You typically have more power when the desire is there. That's like a natural thing as well too. Just because a person fall back don't mean they ain't necessarily gonna get a relationship with you as well.
But I'm not talking about getting in a relationship. Yeah, I'm speaking to the consistency point. Just because somebody is being consistent does not necessarily mean that they're not trying to finesse you.
But just because I'm being less consistent, don't mean I'm finessing either. Because you could be less consistent for a multitude of reasons. That don't mean I'm finessing.
I mean,
you can get a new car. You get a new car, you can't watch that motherfucker enough, boy. You be watching that bitch almost every fucking day. But after you done had that motherfucker about a year or 2 years, you look at that bitch dirty some days and say, man, I'll get that bitch this weekend. I'll hit it this weekend.
That don't mean you love it no less. That
don't mean you not loving no less. it's just become a part of your everyday routine. You see it every day. You drive it every day. When you first get it, you can't stop looking at it.
And if that's the analogy that you're trying to compare to relationships, that's the goddamn problem now.
I'm just trying to break it down. I'm trying to break it down to a simpler term.
Yeah, but that's the problem.
It's a pretty simplistic view of it, though. I mean, it ain't far from accuracy now.
That's accurate.
Yeah, and that's a problem with relationships. That's a problem with relationships now. Or a man has a problem with, like, oh, she was fucking all the time in the beginning. Now she ain't trying to fuck no more. And now we got to go through all these hoops and stuff to get her in the mood to want to have sex. Like, inconsistency. So if y'all saying, like, oh, it's just normally happens in relationships, this is why relationships are fucking doomed, because nobody wants to be have that level of consistent throughout a motherfucker. Like, yes, some things will happen where you cannot be that consistent, but as long as you're putting that effort in to still maintain some level of how it started.
And I agree, because look, as a man in a relationship, I never could get enough of my woman. I love today. I'm just as much as into her as when we first met, and I'm always trying to find new things for us to do, different things we can do together. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not tired of her. Like I said, every time we get together and do what adults do, it's just as good as the first time. And so I mean, it depends on the person. I think that goes a lot with it too. The person, how badly y'all both want it.
Yeah, because a lot of people is getting in relationships with people that they really don't like.
That's most people today. I got a quick question. This is something I wonder, like, prospectively. I'm gonna start with Mike Joe, because Mike Joe, he ain't say nothing in a minute. So when we were talking about the red flags, we were talking about the women. I brought up the concept of the friends of the opposite sex. I want to question. So when it comes to, because we talking about trust, when it comes to, like, your spouse and the opposite sex, like being around the opposite sex, or just being like the man being around women or the women being around men, do you have more of a lack of trust within your spouse or the other person? And I'm only asking this because I always hear women say that it ain't that I don't trust him, I don't trust the woman because I'm a woman and I know how they think. Or I hear men say, well, I don't trust the man because I know how they think. So I want to just ask, so for y'all perspective, who is your lack of trust in? Is your lack of trust in your spouse, or is your lack of trust in the other person? Mike Joe, I'm gonna start with you.
I'm gonna say definitely, like, I don't trust the other person. I could put the trust, like, in who I talk to, but the other person talking to them or want to talk to them, hitting them up on Facebook or whatever. Like what's your motive? And like, I of course I'm not going to trust them at all. But at the same time, like, if my person ain't how can I say it? Like, if they entertaining it, then I'm starting to second guess shit. Like, oh, why you entertaining shit? But yeah, I don't trust the other person.
Okay. Willie D, what you think about that, man? In one of them type of situations, who is you got the lack of trust in? Is lack of trust within your woman, or is your lack of trust within that man?
I think the lack of trust is with both, because when you've done so many things with other people's old lady, it will make you not trust yours. It will let you see how slick things can be, and you'll kind of be like, damn, I remember when I was doing this, and that should have come back to bite you. Like, it's cool when you're doing it with somebody else's old lady, but then when it's time for your old lady to be around some other people at a party or anything like that, you thinking back, and subconsciously, whether you know it or not, you thinking back to when you did dirt and how that other man didn't know what you was doing with his woman. So I think it's with both, because I mean, a woman can tell you she's not gonna cheat all day, she's not gonna cheat all day, but I mean, some women, just spur of the moment, motherfuckers smelling good to them. It can be anything, and they could give them any type of play that you wouldn't approve of. Not saying they'll fuck, but there might be some things that go on that you don't approve of.
So basically, you traumatize yourself.
Basically, you did it to yourself.
Caprice, what you think about that? Where does the lack of trust go? The lack of trust with the person you with, or is it within the female?
What you saying as far as like having friends of the opposite sex?
like when it comes to the scenarios of the opposite sex, like if you're with a guy, do your lack of trust lie more within him being around those women or the women being around him?
I think it depends on the women. If this not a childhood friend, if y'all just met like 2 years ago or some shit, like this person is not really embedded in your family, it would be more predicated onto that woman. Because especially for me, knowing women's nature, they want something. They want a man that other women want, and typically, if the man is being good to his woman, they feel like, oh, if I can take him, then he's gonna be good to me as well. And that's why I mean, I guess that's why some women go after like men in relationships or men that's married and shit, because they see the potential of him being a faithful man, you know, like which is asinine if you could see him being a faithful good man, and if he cheat with you, then is he a faithful good man?
Word. How you get them is how you lose them. That's a fact.
But they don't have that much of foresight. It's just the just that insight right then and there. It's like he's a good man and he treat her good, and I want to be treated like that, so I want him. But they not looking further down. If this man cheat with you, is he a good man? And now you traumatizing yourself by fucking with a nigga that cheated on his woman to be with you, because now you're gonna go in a relationship thinking like, oh, he could, the same way I got him is the same way I could lose him. He could cheat on me, and you ain't gonna be really trusting a man that cheated on his woman to be with you.
I want to dive into that concept, but I'm gonna save it for next week because I actually because I'm gonna do that What's So Different show, and that's actually one of my subjects that I want to address is that concept of that good man versus the alternate side. So I ain't gonna do it this show, but I do want to address like that concept because you said things that were like two things that were different. So I kind of want to dive.
I said two things that was different.
Yeah, because you use the situation of him being faithful, and then you use the concept of him being a good guy.
Because normally a woman ties a man faithfulness to him being a good man.
No, I get it. I was just saying that I want to dive into that, but I'll wait because that's actually one of my things I'm gonna dive in on the next show, and it will be actually as a subject itself. So I was like, I want to dive into it, but I'll wait till next week to do it. Matty B, what you think about that? You're in a situation between this opposite sex, man. Where your distrust coming? Is it for the woman you with, or is it for the guy?
With me, it would typically be for the guy. If I had to choose one of those, in the overall aspect, I would say it would just be for the situation in a general sense. Because I think when you get into situations, you look at what causes problems and what's going to be more beneficial to whatever the desired outcome is. And typically, women that have friends of the opposite sex typically cause issues, and the issues don't necessarily have to be her cheating. It could just be another guy trying her, or she being in a situation where she's uncomfortable. It just seems that, like, in my experience, it seems to always bring up an issue, whether she's not getting home at the right time. It's always see the problem. So anytime you can avoid a problem, I think, to me personally, that's where the issue is coming from. So you could be the perfect woman, you know what I'm saying? Well, I ain't gonna say the perfect woman because ain't no such thing, but you could be a woman that I have full trust in, as much as I'm able to trust, and I still wouldn't want you to have male friends, and your friends can be great people. They can be great people that I don't believe would try my woman or anything. And I just want to avoid the situation in totality, because I just try to avoid issues I can see coming forward. I don't see where it could be that beneficial. I don't see where it could really be that beneficial unless you're like in the entertainment industry. If you're in an industry where you have to kind of interact with the opposite sex, then that makes sense. But like typically 9 to 5 people, I don't see where it could be beneficial. So I say you should just avoid the situation altogether if it could be a problem.
Or if she sell real estate, you got to talk to people doing that too.
Yeah, like when they got a job that they have to be like social with people. So any job social, they could be like a
Well,
like
most women's jobs are
hostess.
social jobs.
Yeah, but I'm talking about like where you're like they have social jobs, but a lot of women's jobs are customer service where they just dealing with people while they there. But I'm talking about
That's
it's a
a
little different.
social job.
I know that, but I'm saying, but it's a little different when you have to have a friend to get deals done, like how you say real estate agent, because then situations like that you have to work with other people consistently.
Yeah, you typically it's certain jobs where you typically have to
And
build a
let's add in the
relationship
fact that
with people. Customer service, you don't have to build a relationship with people.
and she's definitely going to be seeing people that she finds attractive. So that you got it's not that everybody she see ain't going to be So it's about the person. She self-controlled.
If she do here, she definitely have to be constantly. I mean, you connecting with these people.
So if I answer the question,
especially if you a unisex, if you do men and women here, you got to keep your clientele.
So if I answer the question, I'm a little differently. I think my answer a little differently than y'all. I think my lack of trust is simply for the woman that I'm with, not the man. I expect men to do exactly that. I expect men to shoot their shot, whether they know you married, whether they don't know. I expect dogs to do what dogs do. I expect when niggas come around, he about to try to holler at her. I expect he about to try to get that pussy. I don't have a lack of trust in that nigga. I trust that nigga to do what he gonna do. My lack of trust is within the discipline within the woman. Because I understand men gonna always do it, but I need you to be strong enough and I need you to exist above the noise. All that hollering and all that, I need the woman to exist above that. And if you show those weaknesses the way you like to entertain guys, my issue is with you. My issue is what you allow. Because people can't go no further than you allow. So I don't care how many times a nigga try to holler at you. If you ain't gonna allow it, you ain't gonna allow it. So I don't have to have any distrust for him. My trust is lying on you. What are you willing to allow? What are the doors you're gonna open up? What are you gonna let be there? So my lack of trust is completely on the woman, not the man.
But then if you say it like that, then my lack of trust would be on both because niggas easily fall for temptation. So then I don't trust the nigga I'm with either.
I mean that's fair. I'm just because we answering this question from a personal place. You know what I'm saying? And that's where I stand on it. I don't have no distrust for the guy. My distrust is for the woman I'm with. Because that's the woman who I'm dealing with, and that's the woman that's where all the liabilities of the relationship lie, not necessarily the guy. Because the only way the guy can go anywhere is if there's a kink or a flaw in the woman or something she falls vulnerable to. Everything has to come from her because he can't do nothing without her consent.
Right. But like, okay, so give me an example of like if men try to holler at your woman, what kind of response would make you have lack of trust?
I've already said them. I'll do it though. If she's the type of person that likes to entertain, a lot of guys have certain little rules when they talk to women. They do believe in certain stuff like, if I can make her laugh, I got her. If I can do this right here, I got her. Men have little things that they say that don't turn guys away. It actually feeds them and gives them more momentum to keep trying. So it's certain things she would have to do. Does she shut it down? It's all about what you allow. Because a lot of guys do have these certain things that feed them and they'll be like, well, I'm gonna keep trying. I'm gonna keep trying. No, don't get me wrong. Even a girl who kind of jumps off with an attitude actually is enticing to certain guys too. But like I said, my issue is not the guy. My issue would be the woman.
Which I'm about to say because I can't even say like, based on like the woman thing, how the woman response, that's like predicated until the men keep moving forward and forward. Because nigga, I have experienced fucking violating niggas not to talk to me and they still try.
But that's my point. That guys are gonna do what they're gonna do, but a guy can't go no further if she does not give a certain level of consent. That's my point. That's where the trust is at. How much your ass is willing to consent is where the trust is.
So you saying if she laugh at the nigga, that's like
stop laughing. His jokes ain't funny. His jokes ain't funny. Stop laughing.
That's crazy. So you just want your woman to be a bitch out here? What you saying?
Yes. Exactly. I want you to be a sniper with it to the meat. When a nigga go to say something, I want you to look at that nigga and be like, yo, nigga, who the fuck you talking to? Stop talking to me. I got a man. I want that. Yes. I want you to be a bitch.
And that shit turn niggas on because look at you. You like for your woman.
I said that. I said that can entice guys too. But I still want you to be that way. I know what I said. Yes, it can be enticing as well. But I want you to shut it down.
Yeah, what a lot of men don't understand is like bitches don't be necessarily laughing at a nigga because shit is funny. You try to disarm the danger because sometimes coming off as a bitch can get you hurt. So this woman,
being nice will get you hurt.
I mean, either way, but sometimes just like walking away it's sometimes better than like get the fuck out my face and doing all that shit.
I wouldn't advise you jumping to that degree because these caliber of guys today probably might punch you or hit you with a skateboard or many scenarios. So I wouldn't advise you to do that.
That's what I'm saying. It's crazy that you would say that because these niggas out here is fighting bitches. Like it's a really like forms of women hater, like in the goddamn rascals. Like
I need you to be a bitch.
Really happening.
I need you to be a bitch.
You can always like when that man hitting on her, like you ain't gonna always be there when a man hitting on her. So she gotta be a bitch every time and put herself in danger like that.
I need you to be a bitch.
That's crazy.
I need you to be that crazy bitch.
Right. That's why I say. That's why I agree with that book, and I believe that book that say men love bitches. Like it's crazy how it made me like, oh, I want my woman to be fit, feminine, and friendly. You really don't want no friendly ass bitch. You really don't.
No. But wait. That's what a man say he wants you to be to him. I don't need you to be a bitch to me. I want you to be a bitch to these other niggas.
No, some men be saying like, "Oh no, you need to."
No. I get what you're saying, but I'm clarifying my position.
Because they don't believe that your femininity could be turned off and turned on, and
I disagree with that dialogue. You definitely can turn it on and turn it off. I totally disagree with that.
I agree with that too, but
you definitely have a choice of when you want to be it and when you don't. Men do it all the time too. You definitely can choose when you want to be hostile and when you don't want to be hostile. You can change. You can turn on your level of an extreme masculinity, what people tend to consider toxic, and then you can tone that shit down. The same way with women. So I disagree with that rhetoric. You definitely can change and alter.
Because they try to combat it with like, oh, that means like, oh, I could be if I say I could be feminine when I feel like it, then women not gonna go with that. But like what men don't understand, typically when a woman is not under a covering of a man, you have to carry some form of masculinity operating in this world because of being that feminine woman can get you fucking hurt sometimes. Being too nice and too friendly can get you fucking taken advantage of.
I would say the masculine female typically getting more BS than the female that's feminine.
BS like what?
Arguments back and forth with guys that lead to altercations, back and forth with females falling out. It's usually females that get in worse situations than women that are feminine. It's feminine don't necessarily mean, I mean, you say feminine, that don't necessarily mean you just got to go with whatever a guy say either.
So when you saying feminine, what do you mean? Like when a guy approaches a woman and she trying to turn him down, what's the feminine way to turn him down?
No, sir, I'm not interested. I have a man.
That's one way.
You could be friends.
Or you could be like.
Wait. Why are you offering up a friendship? See, now that's the dope.
That's how you end up. That's how y'all end up having sex right there. That's how.
No, I'm saying that's how y'all. I'm coming from the man response. You said that. I'm saying that's what you say.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
Okay.
I'm telling the man we could be. I'm not saying I'm telling the man we could be friends. I'm responding the man's way.
No, but there are women who do that though.
It's women that say it in a feminine way, and they still be like, "Oh, we could be friends, though." Like,
and you can say, "I'm good." You can say, "I'm good."
I'm good. I'm good. Have a good day, sir.
And he'd be like, "Why? Like, let me just get your number."
Like, no, I'm talking about. That's when you just walk away.
When it becomes to harassment,
you have to get in your masculine bag. Like, a feminine don't always get a nigga off for you. That's what I'm saying. It has to be a level of both.
No, because a lot of times,
But that masculinity, you kind of welcome for a nigga to want to punch you in the face now, though, because you don't want to get masculine because now it becomes an energy thing. So sometimes I don't recommend you getting that gay because now you kind of welcoming more hostility now. So you don't have to get masculine.
I think when it's a situation where you can't really exit quickly, you would have to be more in that feminine walking away type of thing. But for me, because I'm not in New York, like where I'm from, where I'm typically like walking up blocks and shit, I would try to be more level-headed with the femininity and the masculinity. But down south, when I'm just jumping in my motherfucking car, niggas, stop talking to me. Like, and I could jump in my car and drive the fuck off. Like, can't nobody follow me and try to hurt me or whatever, but like y'all don't be understanding. Niggas don't be trying to give up. Niggas be trying to be real persistent. Even if you tell them you got a man, and I be trying to say like, oh, I got 5 kids and 3 baby dads, even though it ain't true. Oh, I could take care of your kids and fuck them niggas. Like niggas don't be trying to give up. Like y'all be acting like you could just be like, oh no, I got a man, and niggas just walk away. Like no, niggas don't do that. So I do think it needs to be a healthy balance between femininity and masculinity. I don't get why men be trying to say like, oh, if you have masculine traits, then you're not really feminine. Like nobody's all the way feminine, nobody's all the way masculine. Like cut it out.
I'm gonna kind of disagree because I do know a lot of dudes when they do get turned down, they are gonna walk off. I don't know too many dudes that actually sit up there and keep following the girl that says she got a man. I don't want to talk to you. I don't see too many dudes do that. I usually see dudes that when their turn down come, they going about their business. That's normally what I say. I don't really see too many dudes going crazy like that.
They're seeing good one man, then next thing you know, you don't get a play. Now they call you a bitch and you stuck up and all that.
So. You're right.
Well, a lot of times females, a lot of guys think like this too. If you keep responding, I have a chance because I've definitely done both. You know, I've heard a female say no. But if I keep speaking, you giving me an answer is you being open to conversation. When a female says no, when she just turn around and walk away, then you know it's no for real. But a lot of times females will be like, no, I'm not interested. Then you keep creating conversation, you end up making her laugh. Then eventually they end up being like, you know what? Here go the number. So I mean, you responding alone is initiating conversation. That's why I say it's best that if you say I'm not interested or I got a man, if he keeps wanting to talk, say, thank you, sir. Have a great day. Because that's letting him know that it ain't nothing you can say that make it go past this.
I get that. I agree with that, but I don't think that's all the time. That's all I'm saying. Niggas will follow you and keep talking. Even if they talking to themselves, they will still do it.
Well, that's when you got to call the damn law enforcement and tell them somebody's following me. I don't know, cuz. I mean, you can tell, cuz, like, I'm about to, hey, I don't feel, you making me feel uncomfortable right now, man. I'm gonna have to get somebody dying. You know,
there you go.
Unless you too masculine of a woman to call the police. And
you
want to fight.
Police in that instant, like they're not gonna get to you quick enough that by the time
that's not the point. That's not the point.
Most niggas about to fall back when you say something about the police.
And that's not technically the point. The point is trying to issue up of a deterrence. You know what I'm saying?
I get it and I agree with y'all, but I'm just saying it's niggas that don't be giving up. So you can't always be like, oh, that feminine shit always work, because it don't always work.
All right.
So basically, you got to give them play.
No, I ain't saying give them play. I'm just saying as far as like your response, whether you respond in a feminine way or a masculine way, like either or, like niggas don't be trying to give up sometimes. That's all.
But that's why it goes back to what Matt was saying though. Sometimes the more you keep talking is really the avenue that makes people think they stand more of a chance too. Even if you say something negative, you're trying to say something positive to deter them. Sometimes the more you keep talking means the more I can keep trying because you're actually entertaining me. Because the more you keep talking, you're entertaining. I don't care what you're saying, you're entertaining.
So then it's not even about you turning a nigga down. Nigga, it just, the relationships do not look fucking good at all. Like, it's not.
All right.
It's not looking like it's something.
I got 2 more so we can get up out of this thing. I ain't
It's
paying
just
attention. Oh, y'all some long-winded people, man. Y'all just be talking and stuff. I got a question that come up. And then y'all kind of touched on when y'all talked about marriage. So I want to kind of introduce this because it's something I wanted to dive into. Can we trust the Bible as a guide placement for our lives? And I'm asking this question because I want to point at the concept of marriage. And we're talking about trust, right? So can we trust the Bible as a guide placement for our lives? So where am I going with this is people love talking about marriage, right? I'm of the cloth, and I don't know if I did this on the show. I don't know if I said this on the show or not before, but I know I've said it a couple of times. I don't understand people who make a big deal about marriage who are not really religious. Because when it comes to the concept of marriage, first of all, in this country, everything we do is predicated on religion. We use a lot of Greco-Roman culture, the way our school systems are set up, even when it comes to the family. And this is why I understand when I hear people, when they talk about marriage, they talk about forever. Because the number one key factor when it comes to marriage is not a 2-person deal. It's a 3-person deal. It's you, her, God. You, him, God. So I understand when I talk forever because they looking at it like, yo, I ain't gonna break no commitment with God. It's not about just you and the other person. When it comes to the concept of marriage, it's not about just you and them. It's about God. So I understand when people say, but it should be forever, because those people are typically thinking about their relationship with God as well. So I personally don't understand, if you're not a religious person, why do you emphasize marriage? To me, that's weird because, everybody knows me. I'm an etymology guy. I like to get to the source. So marriage has its value only underneath the unification of church, though. Now, I know we've perverted things to be like, oh, well, state this, but the placement of it was predicated upon church. I don't know whether people notice or not, but it was. And it actually still is. It's just some people just aren't religious and aren't not. So sometimes y'all always hear me say, well, people do get married for different reasons, because I do think marriage is also a pact. So where I'm going with it is introducing this concept of, do we understand that God plays a significant role in marriage? And can we actually trust this concept to move forward? Or are we just that too torn away from the religion that we just say, nah, fuck all that. It's about what I say, about what you say. I just want y'all on that concept.
Well, you're speaking on religion. So, I mean, there's a lot of people that believe in God, but ain't necessarily religious people as well. So, but in totality,
yeah, I gotta say that you don't have to, because you believe in God, don't mean you have to like really be.
In totality, don't
tell me y'all missed the whole point of what I said, because that was the thing. I'm talking about marriage. God is a part of marriage. Remember, marriage is what I'm asking.
I'm about to get to the total point. So that's why I was saying, in totality, I would say I kind of agree with what you're saying, but I think there's been people feel like there's a breakdown in how the church was supposed to work. So even though people feel like there's a breakdown in how the church was supposed to operate, they still believe in the concept of marriage. So it's kind of like a dilemma there. You know what I'm saying? Do you have to be a religious person to actually get married if you don't believe that the church is being ran in the proper way that it was meant to be ran in the first place? Because
it's not about the church, it's about God.
No, I agree, but you kept saying about religious people in the church as well. I'm speaking to the religious part. They may not be overly religious because they're just not, people don't believe in churches no more in general, but they may be a godly person. So what I'm saying is, you could be a person that believe in God and believe in his values and rules, and kind of definitely in the aspect of a marriage, and want that to still be intact, but not be a religious person because you just don't believe in the church. Or
that's fine, but that ain't the point. I mean, I get it. I agree with everything you're saying, but the point and the focus is about the marriage.
Yeah, well, I believe the marriage can be based on God without being based on religion. You know what I'm saying? And
I keep hearing y'all say that. It's not my point. I'm not trying to go the religious route. The point I'm trying to get to people to address is God in the marriage. We don't have to talk
he's saying that
religion
because
itself. I
He's
use the term religious because that's usually what we place upon people who do believe in God. But that's not the purpose of what I'm asking.
No,
I asked
he's
specifically about the Bible, and then I gave you the direction of the God being actually the number one key in marriage. That key is actually more important than the you and the other person.
I don't think there's that many people that don't believe in God.
I think he responded to your comment that you made. Like, I don't understand how people could believe in marriage, but they're not religious people. That was a statement you made.
You said religious a lot during the thing.
I know, but that's why I'm telling you the specifics.
I mean, but that's a statement you made. So, like,
but what I'm saying,
that's why. And I literally said I agreed with him, and I'm trying to hone him into the specifics.
Well, I don't believe that many people. I don't believe that many people are big into the marriage and don't believe in God at all. And the people that don't believe in God at all.
My question is not whether or not you believe in God. My question is how strong is God in the marriage itself?
Okay, all right. How strong is God in the marriage itself? I got what you're saying.
Because God is the leading force when it comes to marriage. It's set up, predicated upon that. It's the commitment that y'all make to God. That's why I'm saying you can't really remove it because it's a commitment that y'all are making to him. But most people make it seem like the commitment is just between the guy and the woman. But it's actually a commitment you're making to God. So you can't separate God from it. It's the driving force of marriage.
Well, I agree. It should.
The actuality of it.
I agree with you. It should be that way, but we definitely the same way we evolve with other things being different socially. I believe that's one thing that a lot of people evolve to as well, where they don't put God as much as they should in their marriages. That may be a reason why a lot of marriages are falling apart today. You know, a lot of people don't operate like that no more. A lot of marriages about control. It's about the entitlement. It's about feeling like, you know, something is allocated to yourself. I think it's the pride in having somebody have your last name. I think it's way more than just God today. So as far as your question is concerned, I would say that's the reason why a lot of people don't put God into it. Because a lot of people aren't really like godly people today. You know, so I agree with that.
Now we back on task. Mike Joe, what you think about that? Godless marriage.
I think I think that is a big role within the marriage itself, but you know, just me personally, like that's not the reason with me doing it. But I guess God plays a big part in that, the marriage itself.
I can feel what you said. I can feel what you're saying because I guess you're saying if you're not putting God first, or if God is nowhere, if y'all not praying together, actually putting God first, then what was really the point of getting married and taking vows before God?
Because
like y'all could just be in a relationship for that.
Married in general.
Period. You said what? Now, Mike, my bad. I was talking. I didn't hear you.
I didn't see the point in marriage. Period. I just feel like it's just a piece of paper for like years, but. You know what I'm saying? I understand, like, that's how some people feel, and they go to church and they put God first, all that. So that's just not me. So when I do it, you know, yeah, that's why I say it's for the title, marriage or whatever, but just, you know, me personally, that's not the reason why I'm doing it.
You just did it to lock it in, basically.
Yeah, it's not necessarily because of church and all that, because, you know, it's not for that.
Okay. Caprice, what are your thoughts? Godless marriage.
What's the question? Because I think you said a lot.
So my original question I asked was, can we trust the Bible to actually be the guide placement for our lives when it comes to this concept of when we talk about marriage? Because like I said before, I acknowledge the state that most people today, God has no placement within it. But the originality of where these things from, God actually played a very intricate role in the concept of marriage. So you hear people today, like the majority of us, we're not religious guys, but yet we'll still talk about marriage. So I'm addressing that concept. Like, how does the marriage really hold a significance when God is not the leading factor?
So that's the question.
Yes, ma'am.
Cause you said like two different questions. How is God? Wait, say it again. Say it again.
How do you
Because
have a value sense for
people
marriage
trust the
without God?
Bible, so it's like what? Huh?
How do you have the value placement upon marriage without God being involved?
I don't think you can, because I do think marriage should be God between God and that man, because that man makes a commitment to God. If this man has nothing to hold him accountable,
Well, both people. It's not just him.
well, not just him, the woman too, but it's mostly on the man though.
No, it's
How
mostly
so?
on both of them.
Hold on. Yeah, I got how. What?
I'm about to say
I
no,
don't
it's
know.
on both of y'all.
I could have sworn it said that the commitment was mostly it's a the man makes the commitment to God and the woman makes the commitment to the man and God. So I don't know.
Both of y'all saying for better or for worse. Both of y'all
Y'all
saying
both
sickness
are
or health.
making the commitment to God, but God does have an order.
I guess if
And
either
the order of authority is God, man, woman, then children. But y'all both make that commitment to God, because your relationship with God is your relationship with God. Y'all both have to have this relationship with God.
right. What I'm saying is, speaking on both people, if you have nothing else outside of each other to hold you accountable to this marriage, it typically is gonna fall apart, because what are you doing it for? Like, so yeah, I don't think most marriages today are based in God. Like, no, you don't have to be a religious person. You have to have the ideology of Christianity and all this. It's so many different religions at this point. It's so many different gods. Like, it's just so much stuff. But I do think it needs to be some form of entity outside of both of y'all to hold y'all accountable to this marriage, because without that, there's nothing else that's keeping you in this marriage to hold you accountable to uphold your vows that you made between each other and to God. So that's probably the reason why people play with marriage like, oh, if I just get divorced, I just get divorced, or like marrying multiple people in a life and whatever, not sticking through marriage or whatever. So
That's what my placement was for bringing it up, right? It's the grasp the concept of the levels of accountability and something being greater than just the man and the woman. Like, I think the biggest problem is when people put themselves above the unification itself, right? So most of these situations, women are putting themselves before, or a man might put himself above it. But there was initially supposed to be something that was more stronger than that. That's the whole reason why marriage was predicated upon the number one thing was God, because that was something that was supposed to exist heavier, stronger than the two individuals. You know what I'm saying? So it was that the factor that was supposed to hold people together. Now, like I said, I'm not one of them people who push stuff, because like I tell people all the time, listen, we've perverted away from this very, very heavily. Most of us are religious people, and people do get married for many different reasons. So I was simply introducing the concept of how do people do it then without that? Because most of us are going to do it without that. Because people get married for many different reasons. Some people do come together literally to build a family. And then once the kids get grown, they literally separate. Some people get married for political reasons. So it's only they're done politics, then they go their separate ways. So I understand. That's why I say I understand when people say it's about forever, because the forever comes from the God's type of talk. That's why people forever. But for people who understand when it's not about God, then your pact, because I always say marriage is just a pact. Once your pact serves its purpose, it can be diminished at that point, because you got married for that specific thing. And I don't believe you have to have the concept of God, because I don't think that you have to have the religious-based structure in you at all. I think that's just a path certain people walk, certain people don't. You know what I'm saying? I just wanted to introduce the concept of how it originated and highlight the ideas of people actually did drift away from the concept. That people do move more independently based upon it versus actually with God himself. That's all.
I mean, I guess it's kind of asinine for people that want to be married and they talk about like forever, or they do these certain vows that's like the vows that you are making towards really like God in a sense, but don't have God nowhere in a marriage. So they get married in churches and probably don't even believe in God or don't put God at the forefront of their marriage. Now, if you have a pact with this person that y'all getting married on specific reasons, then I wouldn't say like that marriage wouldn't work or you shouldn't get married that way or whatever. But if you come from this concept of like forever and death do us part and the vows that come from the Bible and all that, then how the fuck can you say all of that? But God is nowhere in this marriage. Like,
and that's always where, if you have paid attention to it, that's where people always are like, clashing in each other. Because they always say the biblical vows, but most people are not walking that path. That's why my original question was formed the way it was. Can you really trust the Bible as that guide placement for your life? Because people make those claims of those vows, but then they're not religious people. So it doesn't make sense to use the Bible if that's not even where you operate at. It makes sense for those who tend to operate in this place, but if you don't choose to operate in it, why even use it at all? It doesn't make sense. All right, y'all, this is the last question, and I ain't gonna top y'all time too much more longer. So we talked about all these different trust things. Like my question, kind of a two-part question. First part is like, and then I just want y'all to just give y'all own personal, explanation to it. Are you trustworthy? You just be a yes or a no, and then I want you to explain what are the character traits you look for when it comes to trusting somebody. So, are you trustworthy? This is the question just for each person directly, yes or no. And then I want you to answer the question of what are the traits that you personally look for when you're seeking trust in somebody.
Oh, you trustworthy? Like, what do you mean?
Are you trustworthy?
How can you? I don't know. Like, that's predicated on the person I'm dealing with to make that assumption, or if I'm
predicated upon you too.
I don't know.
You can have trustworthy characteristics of things that speak for you to be a trustworthy.
I don't know, because my trustworthy characteristics could be different from somebody else. So
but it's predicated upon you.
Somebody I'm trustworthy and they feel like I'm not.
See, you're not. You're trying to answer the question not from how it's posed. The question is posed to you based off of your understanding. I'm not asking you to give me an answer predicated upon somebody else. I'm asking it predicated upon you. That's why the second question comes behind, because then that'll tell me actually what I need to know about the first question. Think about it. So if I'm asking you, are you trustworthy? Then asking you, what are the traits? So I would hope that if you say you're trustworthy, the traits you didn't name after, I would hope you possess those things. If these are the traits that you look for. So it's about you. It's not about the other person. You know what I'm saying? Simple enough? Are you confused still? Need time to think about it? I'll let you think about it.
No, I'm going to just say I don't know.
So you don't know if you're trustworthy or not?
I know I'm trustworthy to my. Look, what do you mean trustworthy? Like what, in relationships, friendships?
Are you trustworthy? Trustworthiness is a character thing, dog. Either you are or you're not. Are you trustworthy? From your own opinion, do you feel you're a trustworthy person? You're making this more complicated than what it is. It's actually very direct. Yes? No? Come on. Come on.
Have somebody else answer it.
Willie D.
Yo.
Question go to you, bro. Are you trustworthy? Simply yes or no. And then I want you to tell me what are the character traits behind a trustworthy person.
Yeah, I'm trustworthy, man. You can, you know what I'm saying? I mean, just from a simpler aspect, I'm never really late to anything. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just try to be a man of my word. Like, a lot of times, like on the weekends when I do get some of my children, it's like I wanted to. My baby mom was like, "You sure?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I know I'm gonna get them, but I don't want to say 100%. I like to be trustworthy. I like to say because you never know what happen. I could fucking die. You know what I'm saying? I'm not, So I do like to be, you know what I'm saying, for real. Like I don't. I'll be like, yo, I plan. That's the plan. My plan is to get them. But yeah. And I feel like as I'm getting older, I'm getting more trustworthy. When I was younger, I did a lot of things. I learned a lot of lessons from that taught me to be more trustworthy in relationships. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like I'm trustworthy, and I'm becoming more trustworthy as I get older.
So, what are some of the traits, man, that represent a trustworthy person? I know you spoke to punctuality, and then
dependable.
Yeah, being dependable. Just I mean, basically, all you got is your word, man. All you got is your word out here. You know what I'm saying? So always, as a man, just always try to follow through with what you say you're gonna do.
Okay. Mike Joe, what you got, man? Are you trustworthy? And tell me some of these, just some traits that you look for when you think about trustworthiness in a person.
I'm gonna say yeah, and kind of the same. It's kind of the same like what Willie said. Basically, like being a man of my word. Like if I say something, I mean what I say and say what I mean. And like yeah, if I say something, I'm gonna do it. And if not, you can trust that I'm at least let you know. Like something went wrong or whatever. But I personally feel like I'm a reliable person. Like if anything you can trust me to be like reliable and tell the truth, and that's really it.
Okay. Caprice, you got it yet, or you still ain't know yet?
That ain't stupid.
In my humble opinion, no, not even humble. In my
because you might be a little
cocky
arrogant.
opinion,
Yeah, I figured it would have been arrogant.
I am trustworthy because I am a dependable person. People like to rely on me, especially for my honesty whenever they need my advice or my opinion on something. I'm very brutally honest. That's why part of my social media name is unfiltered, because I'm gonna tell the truth regardless whether you like it or not. And I'm loyal to those people who deserve my loyalty. So, but that's not for everybody.
So yeah, if I answer the question, the answer is simply yes. I mean, it's twofold. It's yes, and the traits are simple. It's to reliability and honorability. You know what I'm saying? Like reliability, dog, I got you. Like I say I'm coming. I got you. I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna be there on time. If I say I'm gonna be there on time, I'm gonna be there on time. I got you. You know what I'm saying? It's very straightforward. I always tell people I'm not a moral guy, but I am a man of principle. See, I don't care about whether you call something right or wrong, but I do have principles that I live by. So if you simply ask and understand my principles, you can hold me 100% accountable to my principles. So you're going to have that honorability. I'm going to honor my principles. Now, you might not like certain things because you might realize that you might not share the same principles. So if you know my principles, then you're going to know, yeah, he's definitely completely honorable upon the principles. Yeah. So, that's simple. All right, guys. That's pretty much all I had. Y'all got anything else y'all want to add to this trusting conversation? Or
No, I mean, I appreciate it. It's my first time on. I enjoyed it, man. And you know what I'm saying? I appreciate it. I support the brand. You know what I'm saying? Big up the humble beginnings. You heard me?
Yes, sir. All right, gang. If y'all ain't got anything else, man, we're gonna go ahead and sign off this thing. Y'all got anything else?
I would say to the woman, trust that niggas could lie. Trust
Oh
that
my God.
don't have your best interest at heart.
Really?
Trust.
You got to be her.
What I will tell you not to trust a nigga with is your body. Because ain't nobody gonna respect your body how you respect your body.
But how you respecting it if you giving it to? All right.
I was thinking that too. I was about to say, well, in order for him to get your body, that means you got to show you ain't had respect your body.
That's why I'm telling them, respect your body, dude. You can't just be trusting people with your body.
Caprice, she trying to take us down a rabbit hole. We trying to close it.
Nah, you can't. You can't trust and really understand that niggas could be finessed, and whether they actions can show they want to be with you, or they trying to go somewhere with you. Actions show that don't believe it because it could still be a finesse.
So she basically just saying, what that little song that they got, and they be like, "Don't trust no nigga, no, don't trust no."
Yeah.
Oh God, bro.
She about to bump that as soon as we get off of here.
I don't even know that song, but no, seriously though, like at this point, what I'm taking from this conversation that everything could be a finesse, so you never know. So just operate really carefully, especially women, because our body's just tied to our emotions. And just because a nigga acting like he want to be with you, don't necessarily mean he want to be with you. And you're gonna get fucked in the end if your emotions get attached to this person and he ain't really feeling you like that.
All right. Well, she gave us her closing words. So until the next time, guys, we are out. Peace.
Peace.